One of the things that we have in common is we're just trying to eat. We're just people trying to eat and trying to make a good living.
Take me through your story.
My name is Blaze because my weed habit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm talking to the youngest man in the world with the oldest hairline in the world. I don't take any regrets in my life, in my path in life, but I do wonder, like, what if I just didn't start?
Who are you?
I'm Blaze.
You're Blaze, and take me through your story. Like, why is your name Blaze?
My name is Blaze because, you know, I'm a local artist here, you know what I mean? I'm an artist here in Arizona.
Okay.
And artist also, you know what I mean, entrepreneur. Blaze came from the exact dictionary, and then also the exact dictionary definition, and then also blazing, you know what I mean? My weed habit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I do like to smoke weed and indulge in a little bit of weed, you know what I mean? But the Webster's dictionary definition is sudden spark of light, trailblazer.
Trailblazer?
Yeah.
Okay. So you started blazing when you were how old?
Around 11.
11?
Yeah, around 10 or 11.
Would you go back and change that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when do you think?
I mean, in different aspects, I would. You know, I mean, I don't take any regrets in my life, in my path in life, but I do wonder, like, what if I just didn't start smoking weed at that young age? You know what I mean?
Like, where you'd be at today?
And I wasn't smoking every day or anything like that, but you know, yeah, I started to experiment and indulge at around that age.
Okay. You started to experiment and indulge in weed. Was there any other things that you were experimenting and indulging in?
Not really. Like, I was mostly in sports around that. Sports, weed, and then
football. Like what we talking?
Basketball, baseball, soccer. You know what I mean? Soccer a little bit at first too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sports had a huge impact on your life, and that's why you're starting a podcast. Have you thought of a name for this podcast yet?
Oh yeah, we're popping it off. It's called Smoking Packs.
Smoking Packs.
Yeah, Smoking Packs.
Okay, all sports, and you're just.
We're doing a little bit of sports, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of local news, and locally based entertainment news based off of what's popping in Arizona as far as artists and fashion, that type of thing.
Okay, so you're 11 years old. You start blazing. Flagstaff.
Okay. That town.
Take me through that. Like, how did you get from 11-year-old blazing to Blaze now? As what? You're like 60?
Talking to the youngest man in the world with the oldest hairline in the world.
Exactly.
Hey, I mean, you know, very, very, very blessed to have, you know, a great family structure, even though there was hard times, you know, within any family. You know, you go through stuff, you know what I mean? But long story to be short, you know what I mean, parents kept me in sports a lot. That had a big influence on me, because it gave me an aspect and a perception of teamwork, you know, camaraderie and everything. And then not only that, like, I have a natural competitive nature, really competitive, and so I think those things that's something that I really delved into once they gave me an opportunity to do that. So sports kind of fell short, you know what I mean? I got into rapping around 16, 17, maybe a little bit earlier than that.
So I saw that Blaze was started, like, first track on Spotify. I guess I was just going off the Spotify stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have a different name beforehand?
My first rap name was Young B. Matter of fact, I started rapping way before. Young B. I started rapping in middle school, bro, but not seriously rapping. I started seriously, like, this is going to be my profession around 17, 18, 19, but in middle school I was selling mixtapes on, this is how old I am. We used to have cassette tapes, so we would record them on a karaoke machine, and then we used to get instrumentals. Back then they used to sell singles, So they would sell a CD of a single or a tape cassette of the single, and it only have the single song.
Just the single.
Just the single that any artist is promoting. They'll sell the single, and then it'll be an instrumental version of that, which is the beat. You know what I mean? And then there'll be a radio edited version of it. And then so after that, you know what I mean? We'll whatever artist or beats that we like doing it, we go buy the cassette tape. And then my cousin, he had me and Sud's cousin, me and SP cousin, he had a karaoke machine. So we put the tapes in, the single tapes in there.
Who's Suds and who's your cousin, real quick, just for the backstory?
SP is part of Have Nots, you know what I mean? That's my guy, Third Relate, you know what I mean? He came up from the mud with me, you know what I mean? And he's part of H Media, part of Have Nots. He's also an artist here too, regional artist here. You know what I mean? Look up SP on YouTube, you know what I mean? Great music. But so at that point we would record songs off of the karaoke with the instrumental, and then make our own little mixtapes through there, and then we would put them all on different cassette tapes, because we were also able to record them on multiple cassette tapes and then go to school and sell them.
Good. What's that like? How do you sell them to kids at school? Like, I never sold anything at school, so I want to know.
It started off with like our circle of friends, and then after that, you know, people be like, oh, he's doing this and that, you know what I mean? Even though, like, you look back at it like, man, it wasn't that good, you know what I mean? But it was cool though, you know what I mean? Like, we got a good reception.
How much you making per one?
I mean, we were selling them for no more than $1 or $2.
$1 or $2?
We might have brought in, you know what I mean, 50 a week or something like that. It was cool though, and
that's a lot for a kid in high school.
Middle school,
high school, yeah.
Yeah, it built confidence though in that, you know what I mean, and it let us know what we thought it could be. It helped that entrepreneurship.
Definitely. So you're selling mixtapes. Your name is Young B.
Young B at the time. Yeah.
Young B. You're hanging out with Suds. How has your relationship with Suds, like, because you guys are close, you guys are tight, you guys were in Flagstaff together,
yeah,
right? And now you're down here, and you guys are still tight. Why do you think you guys built that relationship where you're so close to where you are today?
I mean, we got it together through the trenches. So us and the homies, or us in the hood, you know what I mean? Like, we got it. We came up together when we were really struggling. So that aspect outside of the music kind of has always, you know what I mean? And plus we're we big family oriented people, you know what I mean? So on top of that, like, what we were doing outside of the music transcended into what we were trying to build within the music.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, and so he basically was in the mud. He was your brother. He had your back. Did you have any brother? I know you got a sister, but do you have a brother?
No. So I mean, I don't have any blood brothers, but I got brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brothers. You know what I mean?
So he was that one that always had your back.
Yeah, he was one of them. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Whatever just out in the streets, getting in front line, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
When you say you're in the mud, in the trenches, like, what does that mean?
It means gang banging, getting money, hustling, you know what I mean, from trying to get money from any avenue that we could at that time. Being young and being... Craziest
story from back to when you were gang banging, getting money. What was the craziest story? I know you got some. He's like, I gotta be careful.
No comment. No comment, man. Like, I don't like to glorify that. You know what I mean? I like to... Like, we had some crazy times. Blessed to be here, I'll say that. Blessed to be here. Very blessed to be here, I'll say that.
Okay, so you're in the trenches. Are you still, like, in the trenches today? Where would you say you are on the spectrum? Like, there's the trenches, there's the middle class, and then there's the rich, right? So where are you on that scale now? I
mean, on that's a class base, but what I would say is the music, our love for music, helped us survive being outside like that. Like, created opportunity for us today, you know what I mean? Like, shit, your age, I was a career criminal. It didn't expect to be more than that, and didn't care about it. Didn't see the value in my life.
Why do you care now?
And none of us did, you know what I mean? As we grow, you know what I mean? As you grow and you're able to, luckily able to survive, you know what I mean, those circumstances that in a sense, it's what we grew up in, but we always have a choice too. So in a sense, it's like, in a sense, it's self-sabotage, you know what I mean? But you live and you learn, and you make better decisions. And then it was really the drive for us to, learn how to create websites, how to do our own marketing, how to manage ourselves as artists, how to start shooting videos for ourselves, figure out printing, you know what I mean? The actual entrepreneurship is why we are here today, because the drive to do that, we learned other aspects of business.
I got you. So Young B, right? Young B, that just means Young Bert, right?
Young Bert. Okay. Yeah.
So why did you go through that name change? Young B.
That happened early.
Okay.
It was kind of my peer. It was kind of something my peers gave me, but it was kind of something like this is me. You know what I mean?
This is you, and so now you're just
like this is the name I came up with, but this is kind of what already everybody kind of been calling me anyway. In essence,
Blaze. They've been calling you Blaze.
Yeah, after Young B on me. Yeah.
So what was that day where you were just like, okay, it's Blaze now? Did you have to go through create new accounts, or like what's that?
Nah, that was all like prior to that. Like nothing was
official.
Nothing was official. Like I hadn't even seriously considered myself starting a career as an artist at this point. You know what I mean? So at this point, once I finally was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I don't want to pursue sports anymore. This is what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? It's either the streets or it's either this rap, and that's I determined for my self-determined. Thank God, you know what I mean? Changed my evolved mindset, adapted, but that was my mindset at the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be one of these two.
Would you say it had to deal with some of the people you surrounded with? Why you changed that mindset?
I would say that had the pressure, peer pressure had something to do with it. It did, but at the end of the day, we all got a choice too. You know what I mean? You gotta.
The reason why I say that is because they say you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's why. Is that true?
Association brings about association brings about simulation. Yes. Okay. Who you associate yourself with is potentially the people you associate with will potentially, you might inherit those characteristics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So 2014, Blaze drops his first album, first EP album. What was it? Was it EP?
Oh no, that was just, that's crazy. Like, Spotify just became a big thing, so we re-released everything. My first project was a conception, and that was in like 2010, I think. 2010. Yeah, 2010, 2011.
Okay. What's that? Give me that whole breakdown, because you know, some people are doing studios, like they're going to the studio, paying for studio time. They're paying to, you know, do the thing that press releases all of their music for them, stuff like that. So you're sitting there, Blaze, 2010. How are you pushing out this music? Is this created in your house, or where are you?
So at this point, so even prior to this, like, we were all a group. The group was Stug Related.
Stug Related.
It's 4 of us. Suds was in the group too, you know what I mean? So all of us, we had a group first before we all kind of split into individual artists and solo artists. So we're off leading into my first studio album, we're off of our second group album, which was I-17 to the Town. So we've been paying for studio time. Word out to my guy Stretch. I forgot their studio name out there in Tempe, man. The homie Stretch, the homie Hayes. Damn, man, I forgot. Good peoples. So we were getting a lot of studio time from them, and then at that time too, it was a transition. It was me. It was me stepping into being more of a solo artist, and then taking management and administrative responsibilities.
Okay.
And then me taking that in, and then spread my wings as a solo artist. And so before even that first out, before my first studio solo album came out, there was because they helped me. They helped me do it. It was at least a 4 or 5 mixtape run. So we did the Block Burner 1, Block Burner 2, Drug Induced 1, and then R&B.
R&B.
Yeah, Rain and Blaze mixtape. So though we did those first 4 mixtapes to build up steam, and then release my first album, The Conception, which was all done at we had our own home studio, and then I went back to school at that time. Went back to Phoenix College, and
for what?
I went to audio engineering. So that to cut costs. So learn. You know what I mean? That's why I say the music, our love to, our will and our love to succeed in music also helped pull us out of the mud, out of the predicament where we was in, out of the mindset we was in. Like it really created entrepreneurs in that aspect. Like it doesn't just have to be what we think. We don't have to just be products of our environment type of thing.
Exactly. So thug related, that's what it is, right? Thug related?
Yeah.
Because I remember a little.
That's the hood too, but it was our first group too. That's where we from. That's our hood, thug related. But a few of us out of the hood started a music group, and then that's what we called it.
Thug related. Okay. Yeah. So how many was it consisting of again? I think you said
like 6 of us.
5, 6. Okay.
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
And was that like a band almost, like where a band is like everybody's together and you're rapping all on the tracks? Or
in a sense, yeah. But we also had like a main producer. Like Rain was a main producer, and then he was producing everything at that time. But he was showing me how to produce, so I was learning from him as well. So like he produced most of the first group project, but then I got like our lead single, 2 of our lead singles, as a matter of fact. I got like 3 to 6 songs on there where I produced as well, you know what I mean? Also learning from other people down here, you know what I mean? So you're producing on your own. So did you ever go to like any of these studios and pay for studio time? No, at this time, like even at the production time, like the first few out, like the second album, we started paying for production time, but we had space, even a small space too, to where we had studio space, home studio space, so we could produce beats as well too. So we had some of the projects would be our beats that we produced or that Rain produced, either me or Rain really at this time, and then or a couple local producers as well. A couple local producers as well besides us two, and then besides that we would the other ones would be ones we bought online.
Oh, everything bought online?
Or the other ones, usually the, like, you know what I mean, half of the project split, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. So now you're in school, right? You got any crazy college stories for us?
Nah, the most boring type college ever, bro. I thought it was really pivotal for that point in my life, was really pivotal, but it was really just work for me. Just work. Greatest thing I got to my mentor is Jamie Weddle. You know what I mean? He's the engineer and assistant engineer on the first few of them, and the engineer I think on some of the later ones, on like 3 or 4 DMX's projects that he recorded out here, as well as some Kenny G, and then I can't remember the other ones as well. Great dude though. I actually went there trying. My thing at this point was like, okay, we're doing decent. We got a little bit of motion with the mixtape stuff and my album going locally, but at the time, IROC, which was like he was like a big artist lead, or big artist in the 90s, 2002, but really big producer, really big. He ended up getting into video production and entertainment and all that type of stuff as well too. Like
still around today?
He's like in Arizona hip hop, he would be like almost like the Dr. Dre for Arizona, like Dr.
Dre for Arizona
for Cali, you know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a sense like that, yeah.
So
him and MC Magic, that's around the generation. Buki Loke as well. Poker Face is another one. He's at a Beat Locker right now.
So Tupac, he had a lot of impact on you, right?
Yeah.
You know all of his songs.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song, and how have you incorporated Tupac into your music, like in the sense of lyrically?
I mean, he was not only my favorite. I mean, still my favorite artist to this day, but also like growing up at that time, especially when I first. Well, shit. Before even that, like I just liked him as a fan, just listening to his music, but. I started studying his music, so it's one of the pretty much 4 or 5 of his albums are one of the ones that I really studied and broke down lyrically, what the beats were like, all this type of stuff, what he was saying, how he was saying it, that type of thing. So he had a lot of influence on my music.
What about favorite song? Favorite song Tupac all time?
Favorite song? I don't have a favorite song all time, but I got like a top 5. Like,
let's hear it.
Hold Your Head. Against All Odds, Me Against the World, Tattoo Tears, man, Dear Mama.
Dear Mama.
Yeah.
Okay. And your family, you got a sister. Your sister's really nice. She always takes care of both of us, right?
Yeah.
So how has your family impacted you? Like when you were in the mud, like what was your family doing? How did they think? What was their thought process to where you are today now?
At that point, it was a certain disconnect because obviously they didn't want to see me. They didn't want to see me out there like that. You know what I mean? So there was a disconnect. But they've always had a huge impact, and even at that, like even with that disconnect, like they still always had my back. Like man, it's times when I was looking at years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking at years, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be out today on some of the stuff I was looking at back then. And even though we had this rift, like they still helped me. You know what I mean? And Kiki, like she's my rock, you know what I mean? As well as my mom and dad, you know what I mean, as well, you know what I mean? But yeah, my little sister, she's my rock, you know, she's just always been there for me for whatever, you know what I mean?
And she's always been hustling.
Yeah, she's a grinder. She's a grinder one of the greatest players, you know what I mean, to play basketball out here, and then was able to transition her.
She break your ankles?
When we were kids, yeah.
Dang.
When we were kids.
You let a girl break your ankles, man?
Hey, she hit me with that and the fadeaway. Yeah.
Shout out to Kiki. So now I kind of wanted to ask you about a little bit of the game, like Arizona game. Like I know it's been 2 years. Where have you been in these 2 years? The fans want to know. You haven't dropped a song.
I'm putting projects together now. I got some stuff in the vault as well, but right now we're just getting everything ready to do a mass release. And
is there a timeline, like not a specific dates, but like maybe 2026 or 2027?
It's no specific timelines, but in 2025 I'm back out there.
You're back out there?
I'm back out there.
Are you in there like swimwear?
In there like swimwear,
okay,
like we always say, bro. You already know.
So what are these projects like huge? Do we got album drops, singles, or what?
We got there's an album in 2025 coming out and an album in 2026 coming out. We don't have a specific amount of singles that we're dropping leading up to either one of those, but there will be singles that are not included in the project leading up to the release.
Tell me about Have Nots. I see you got the shirt. What is Have Nots?
Have Nots is a label, is a company. We have 2 divisions. We have an entertainment division led by only signed artists we have, me, Suds P. We also manage RC Bert. We manage a couple other artists, you know what I mean? And then in the media sector, we cover all aspects of multimedia. whatever you need for marketing, web design, graphic design, short form content, anything in the aspect of helping your business build, that's us.
And you were saying that like reflected off of you being an artist.
Yes.
Correct? So why Have Nots? Why the name Have Nots?
Because I feel like that represents us as the masses. We all, whatever culture we come from, we all got our differences. We all got our fights and our own struggles. But one of the things is among others that we have in common is we're just trying to eat. We're just people trying to eat and trying to make a good living and survive and come up in the world against the powers that be. We are the have-nots that are trying to build and make a way, whatever that hustle looks like, whatever that extra work ethic, or getting to where you need to get to so you can get somewhere, so you can reach your goals in life. You know what I mean?
Well, that leads perfect into the next question. Politically, how has politics impacted your music?
Politics has always been like a big impact in my music, bro. I feel like, because my music has always been a reflection of my life. It's never been vice versa. So, I mean, politics have always, whether it's left or right, like, I mean, we've had discussions on it's like, you know how I feel like they in cahoots. There's a bigger agenda at hand. And
what do you think the bigger agenda is?
For the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer.
The have-yachts and the have-nots.
The haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, exactly. See, it reflects back to the name.
Exactly, bro. Exactly, bro.
So who are these people, the rich getting richer and then the poor get poorer? Like, who are the rich people? Like, what category? Like, are there specific people out there? Is there a group? Is there a specific name?
I don't think it's a specific group or name, but if you follow the money, you know, like, you can look.
I know you've been down this rabbit hole before.
You can look it up online. Like, what the top 5 to 1% of the world own more than the rest. So I mean, you can only imagine if they put their heads together, the type of things that they could do and push, you know what I mean, to achieve their agenda.
Definitely. So do you think Ye is speaking towards the correct group of people in the sense of his latest music, like who's controls the world and stuff like that? Or would you think it's somebody else?
I mean, me, I'm not really one to fuck with Ye like that. I always thought his character was a little suspect anyway. Like, he seems like the type of person that want to say anything at the moment to promote a project or something, and you know, get a buzz up or something. So he'll say some shock value. He'll get shock value. You know what I mean? And to each their own. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do, you know, it is what it is. But
yeah. So you don't think he's targeting the right group of people?
I don't think he's necessarily even targeting anybody. I think he's just trying to shake some shit up so he can get some relevance again.
I see. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So what about, like, how deep are you down this conspiracy hole, like in regards to, you know, where the money's flowing, how much the government has impacted us? Like,
I mean, it's a deep rabbit hole. I don't think we got enough time to go down there. You know what I mean? But I mean, you follow in any major aspect, you know what I mean, especially within politics, if you can figure out a way to follow the money, it'll take you away from what they say the general reasoning of them, or the logic behind them doing what they're doing is.
Okay. I wanted to dive a little bit into that, so now I'll go back to you as an artist. Eat, that's your best song on Spotify. Is that your all-time best song altogether?
Yeah, Eat is my all.
Why is that? Did you expect that?
Not at all. Actually, it was a beat that I produced. So, I mean, I really liked it after making it, but I didn't expect it to be to get the push that it got through, you know what I mean? Honestly, to tell you the truth. It's a really great song. I feel like it's a really great song though, you know, but...
What are some of those other songs that you thought were gonna hit, but didn't hit?
Let's see, most recent album?
All of them together.
All of them, Put That On Me on the Epitaph. It hit though, it hit, but, you know, when you're an artist, like, it's just as well as any competitor, you feel like, man, my shit finna hit globally.
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
this shit, you know what I mean? And then, you know, like when it doesn't, then it don't hit your confidence, but then you be like, damn, what we do wrong? How can we fix this or get a bigger impact, you know what I mean, next go around, you know? Especially when you, and there's always songs like that, I find, you know, like other people are like, why did you like this song? And I thought this song was mid, you know what I mean? But you know, this was,
you just let the wave figure it out. Now, has Arizona been like the best in terms of listens, right? Has Arizona been the best? Or I know some people will be like, oh, I hit Russia and I hit it off in Russia, even though my music is about New Orleans or something. Shout out to Suicide Boys. But like, you know what I mean?
I mean, with the influx of people, we're growing into a bigger market, but Arizona has always been like considered a smaller market in the basis of like music, hip-hop music, you know what I mean? So I think, I mean, in my time, especially down here, coming from Flagstaff, like we're, you know, it's no like downgrade or nothing. We're a smaller town, smaller market, you know what I mean? And so this was, for us coming from the town, we got to get out here, you know what I mean, to get heard more. We got to get down to Phoenix to get heard more. Get here, like most artists here is like, we got to get out, we got to get down south. We got to get to ATL, or, you know, we got to get to LA to get more heard, because they have actual label establishments there, you know what I mean? There's still not a presence of the major labels, which is, I think, which has helped make this make us thrive out here, because we've had to develop our own outlets. We've had to develop our own labels, our own buzz, our own motion, you know what I mean? Look at Arizona Mixtapes is a great example of that, you know what I mean? An established outlet for over a decade, you know what I mean?
Right.
Local, you know what I mean? An outlet here that local artists and regional artists, and outside of just Arizona, you know what I mean? We're talking about the Utahs, Colorados, and New Mexicos, you know what I mean? They could tap into these outlets that they would be able to get exposure with, in opposed to going to, or trying to get to the radio stations, you know what I mean? The major radio station outlets, you know what I mean? And so it forced, I think with that, it forced us to create our own out here. It really did. And I mean, shit, I've seen a lot of growth within AZ hip hop. I really have.
But what was it like back then? Like, you know, I mentioned 2014, but it was clearly 2010.
Shit,
bro.
So
now, like, how involved in this scene are you? And what do you think the scene looks like compared from back then to now?
It's way like there, bro. Even before 2010 was when I first dropped my first solo album. 2005, we dropped our first group project, Air to the Streets. We were doing local shows. Shout out Audie Carter. She passed away. She's like a pillar in Arizona hip hop.
You did your first show?
Yeah, 2005.
What was it, first show you were out there performing? How did it go? Were you nervous?
Hella nervous, bro. I think what was that first one I threw up at? Yeah, I threw up in the bathroom.
You threw up?
Yeah, threw up in the bathroom. Yeah.
Why?
Where was it at? Just nerves. Just nerves. Just nerves, bro. Yeah. But yeah, it was Audie Carter. I think that was her promotions, and then like she had us on a card with like all these other artists that she managed. So it's like a club on like Indian School and 32nd and 24th Street. And then we all sold tickets, you know what I mean?
How much per ticket?
Shit, about maybe no more than $10 a ticket. $10, 15, you know what I mean? It was a few hundred people in there though, but she always had good shows too. But it was always like, it was like the heart of the underground shit here, you know what I mean? Yeah, we started doing that little shit.
What was the connections like there with the underground? Like, who'd you meet and were like?
Shout out to Mav. Damn, what's the other homies? Oh man, I'm getting old as a motherfucker. Mav still popping though, but I can't remember some of the other cats that we was with. Like, man, like it was a stronghold of like 4 or 5 of us. Like, we were performing every show we did, and we was probably doing like 4 or 5 shows a year. Not nothing major, but you know what I mean, a little something, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so but it was the same. Nah, we was probably doing like around 10 shows.
10
almost
shows.
Like almost a show a month. I believe. But it was all with the same team. So all of the artists that we, you know what I mean, we pretty much perform with, you know what I mean, same artists on the card every show.
Did you branch out at all? Go to any of the other areas?
Yeah, we started to go to other areas, you know what I mean, later on. But at this point, one of the artists in the group, we were being managed by one of the other artists in the group, essentially, you know what I mean. And so when I went solo, then I kind of took over all management shit, you know what I mean, as far as managing me and Suz. And yeah, we started doing a lot more. We started throwing our own shows. We started doing shows out of state. Yeah, we did a lot of shows in Cali, did a lot of shows in Texas.
You hit the major places, right? Texas, Cali.
A few of them, you know what I mean.
Okay.
We did one at the South. We did a show at the South by Southwest. Most of the shows that we threw, that were in Flagstaff.
They were all in Flagstaff.
Yeah, most of the shows that we presented and put the money up and threw ourselves. Yeah. Okay. We eventually started to get into that. So
how would you say your flow has evolved to where it's at now?
I mean, majorly. Like I think it's, as an artist, I always still want to grow, so I'm always thinking of how I can get better. But like, it went from a monotone voice to, as far as monotone meaning just like always just rapping loud and kind of like yelling type of voice, to being able to fluctuate before that, being able to just chop, you know what I mean, chop bars and then fluctuate my tone when what I'm spitting. I've always kind of been big on like content though, like what I'm saying. I always wanted to say something within my music.
Has there been like that a really impactful one where you're like, okay, this one, it really gets to me, like in X song?
Ground Up, and then On the Clock, and American Nightmare. As a matter of fact, American Nightmare 1 and 2, and then On the Clock and Ground Up. Those are my ones. Yeah.
Awesome. So, the people want to know, where can they find you for one? And what is, if you have to give them one message, what would that message be?
Don't listen to the dream killers. Success can happen right now, or it can take time, but it's always, one thing is guaranteed with it, it's always based off of those who are prepared and put in that time before, you know what I mean? So don't, you know what I mean, no matter how long it takes, don't listen to the outside noise and frequency, you know what I mean? Push, master that. You don't get to where you got to get to in life, you know what I mean? No matter what the mess the world around you tries to tell you.
And they can find you where?
have-nots.com. That's HAVE-NOTZ.com. On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you know, all the social media platforms, TikTok as well.
Along with Blaze to find him as an artist. And I really appreciate you coming on. It was great, man.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Ware's World, man. Thank you for having me on Ware's World.